Hi everybody, Phil of Games coming back to Fire in the Lake. This is going to be the third video in how to play series of the game. And in this video we're going to execute the first card and show you an operation and special activities with the United States faction. So in the prior video we went through how the event cards and sequence of play work together. Now the United States is going to make a move. And I've decided as the U.S. player that we're going to do an operation and special activity is our first move. And when you do that, you can refer to the little coin menu for our different options. But what I've decided to do is sweep with an airlift in order to reveal a number of VC guerrillas, which are kind of positioned strategically all over the map and are going to be a big time headache if we don't start getting them revealed and getting them removed. So the first thing we're going to do is sweep. And while you can look at the menu for a good refresher, I would actually, like I said, the first time you're playing the game, use the actual rulebook section for each operation and special activity that you do, so you get the full kind of verbose rule write-up for each, instead of relying on the shorter write-up that comes with the player aid. So this is on page 7. The coin operation rule for sweeping is 3.23, and the purpose is to move troops cubes and locate enemy guerrillas. There is a nuance in that. You can use your irregulars, special forces, which are the cylinders, to locate guerrillas, but you cannot move them, right? So if we're going to sweep here with the U.S. Special Forces and play Coup Darlac, they can be used to reveal the VC cylinders, the two VC cylinders that are there, but they cannot move into the area, right? So there's a little nuance to that. First, you are going to move any of your faction's adjacent troops desired into the selected spaces you want to sweep into. Those troops can either move adjacent, or they can move from one space to an adjacent lock, and then our line of communications space, and then from a line of communications they can then move on to another space. So we'll use Saigon as an example here, so you can see kind of what I'm talking about. In Saigon, the U.S. have 2 troop cubes, and to sweep, the first thing they can do is move it into an adjacent space. So they can move adjacent from Saigon, which is adjacent, you can see here, directly into Kin Phong, which is this area location, and they can move adjacent as part of the sweep. Now they could move also from Saigon into the adjacent lock, which is a line of communications which goes from Saigon over to Canton, and it's Route 4 and the Mekong River. So they can move on to the actual lock, the line of communication, and that is a space, a playable space in the game. So as part of their sweep, they can move to that line of communication, and then onward from that line of communication into another adjacent space. In this instance, it would be Canton. Okay, I'll show you a situation here where we can get a troop cube into a province that isn't adjacent to a city by using the lock maneuver to do it. When you perform your sweep, you don't pay as the American player to use American troops to sweep with, which is important to keep in mind as well. American troops are efficient to sweep with in that manner. When you sweep into a location, so from, let's say, we're going to sweep Saigon to Canton as one of our sweeps. In the location that you sweep into, you reveal 1 guerrilla cylinder for each 1 troops cube in a lowland space. So Canton is lowland. It's kind of a lighter green. In each city space, which are kind of gray and they're circles, or each highland space, so the brown, Canhoa, Pleiku, binned in are different Highland spaces. In those spaces, one troops cube reveals one cylinder, or one special forces cylinder of your faction, of the U.S. faction that's already in place, reveals one cylinder as well. Okay, in a jungle, so if we wanted to sweep these two troops into Tainin, it takes 2 troop cubes to reveal one cylinder. So jungle, it's easier to hide in, and your troops are less efficient there. Okay, so to reveal that cylinder in Canfong, all the U.S. needs to do actually is sweep in 1 cube, which is what we're going to do. Keep the 1 cube back in Saigon, sweep 1 cube into Canfong, and reveal that cylinder. Okay, that's 1 sweep completed. Then, in play coup, we're going to sweep. Our group calls us sweeping in place, but the maneuver is you move onto the adjacent lock and then back into the area. And then because we're sweeping in play coup, and it's Highland, so they reveal guerrillas 1 for 1. The 1 U.S. Special Forces and the 1 U.S. Troops Cube reveal both VC guerrillas in play coup. So now we have that base exposed because an activated guerrilla can be removed by an assault. And then we want to do the same thing in binned in, where we've got 1 troop cube, 1 special forces. So he'll move to the lock and back, and by doing so, can reveal 2. 1 troop cube, 1 troop cube, 1 special force, reveal 1, 2 guerrillas in binned in. And then Quang Tri, we've got no U.S. forces. So if we want to sweep and reveal those 2 guerrillas in Quang Tin, not Quang Tri. In Quang Tin, the 2 troops from Da Nang will have to sweep in there. Now, in Quang Tri, so I got ahead of myself, up by the border with North Vietnam, we've got 1, 2 U.S. pieces we can use to sweep there as well. So, by sweeping out it, we're going to leave Da Nang exposed. Sweep into Quang Tin. 1, 2. U.S. troops cubes will reveal 1, 2 VC guerrillas. And then the same thing in Quang Tri. They're going to sweep to the line of communication. The troops are, and then back into the province. You've got a troop and the special forces, and they reveal 1, 2. So we revealed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations. But we really want to try and get them all exposed, or the most we can, because when the VC guerrillas are exposed, they can't accomplish very much on the map. So we're going to combine our sweep operation with an airlift special action. And how the airlift special action works is it allows you to redistribute any U.S. troops and up to 4 irregulars, regulars being the U.S. Special Force cylinders, Rangers are the yellow ARVN Special Forces cylinders, or ARVN troops. ARVN troops are the yellow cubes. So you can pick 4 spaces and redistribute any number of green U.S. troop cubes and up to 4 more irregulars, Rangers, or ARVN troops among the 4 spaces. So what we're going to do with this special activity is move some U.S. assets around to sweep again and reveal some more of the VC baddies, right? So, the game comes with pawns, and the pawns are really nice markers to use while you're playing the game and thinking through your limitations on what you can do. So we know we've got, with the Airlift Special Activity, you've got 4 spaces you can play with, right? So we'll put out the 4 pawns and we'll select our spaces. So the first thing we want to do is think about which target do we want to reveal the VC in. And tane in is a pain. I'll tell you this from experience. The VCs have a tunneled base there, which makes it harder to remove. And also tane in, you can see the number 2 means it's worth 2 population points. And therefore, the opposition in tane in right now are scoring 4 points for the VC's victory conditions, because you take the population number and multiply it by opposition. Anyway, a long way of justifying why we want to go into tane in. So we're going to mark tane in because we're going to airlift into there. Okay, now we need to collect, because it's a jungle, to reveal the 2 gorillas. We're going to have to collect 4 troops to airlift into tane in, because in jungle it costs 2 troop cubes to reveal 1 gorilla. So we had 2 troop cubes paired up in Quang Tin. So we're going to airlift those guys. And we have 2 troop cubes paired up anywhere else. Khantum has 2. So we can airlift those guys. So 1, 2, 3. And then we could do a 4th airlift to kind of recalibrate anything we want to, if we want to do so. And it might be a good idea to do that to remove U.S. troops from a situation where they are exposed to get hit by either the VC or the NVA. So we're going to do that up in Quang Tri. That'll be our 4th airlift spot. All right, so we've marked our 4 airlift locations on the map. And now we can just redistribute pieces between those 4 locations. U.S. troops, any number between the 4 locations can move around. The Arvin troops cubes can also be moved. The police cannot. So the orange police, as much as I'd like to take them out of Khantum and put them up in Quang Tri to help me with my holding operations up there, I can't do that right now, right? So here's what we're going to do. Troop from Quang Tri is going to come into tane in and do more sweeping. The 2 troops in Quang Tin also do the same thing. So now we've got 1, 2, 3 troops airlifted into tane in. And then we're pulling our 4th troop out from Khantum, leaving 1 behind. And now we've got 4 troops airlifted in to the tane in province. That festering pit of VC activity. And because we airlifted them in there, and you can do operations with special activities in any order, including doing a operation, special activity, then another operation, these cubes can sweep again in tane in, which they're going to do. Revealing the 2 VCs and revealing, at least exposing that tunnel to a potential hit there. Okay, and with that done, that means the U.S. has completed their first faction, op, and special activity. And the next decision on the card is going to be the next faction in order at the top, which is the blue VC. The blue VC are going to pass. They want to take this cadres capability, and if they pass, they're still going to be the initiative player on cadres. So the VC are going to pass and go to the bottom, the pass zone of the eligible factions. And this makes the Arvin the next eligible faction. The Arvin now has the opportunity to take a limited operation or an event, because the U.S. player took an operation plus special activity. The Arvin player gets to decide between a limited operation or event. So I'm going to end this video here. Video 4, we'll kind of talk about what the Arvin's going to do next. Thanks.